This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. And welcome to a video that is not just looking at why I love Star Wars, and honestly just always will, why I think it's such a great franchise, and to also briefly touch on what I did in another video, how no matter how bad Disney makes it, they're never going to be able to diminish my love of the franchise. And just to go over that briefly, yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before in my video talking about how Disney can never kill Star Wars, and it's because of just how much it means to me. But going and looking at Star Wars specifically, and honestly, I just wanted to do this before my 5th anniversary because of just, I mean, I'm one of the biggest Star Wars fans. I absolutely love everything, and it's just really, really incredible. I just really, really love just so much of it. But going into it, Star Wars has been in my life for such a long time. It's one of just the earliest things I can remember, and as a kid, really, I was way more into just watching animated shows and stuff. The one exception was Star Wars, where I just really always loved that. I remember my earliest memories when I was younger. I was watching Star Wars first on VHS and then on DVD. And don't worry, I'm not that old. I'm about to turn 24, so it was just right at the transition era where VHS was going out and DVD was coming in. But I originally watched the original trilogy on VHS and always remember seeing that interview with George Lucas and Leonard Maltin at the beginning. That's honestly just an interview I really do want to actually check out now that I'm older and could actually, appreciate them talking about the behind the scenes stuff. Because whenever I was little, I'd always just skip over that part to go and watch the movie because I love those movies. And the people who introduced them to me weren't huge prequel fans, so it took me a few more years to even learn about the prequels and that they existed. And, well, I also was just a little too young to remember Revenge of the Sith coming out, which is the only one that I would even have a chance of remembering. Is that I'm just about to turn 24, so I would have been like 3 when the movie came out, but I really don't remember anything from that, obviously because I was 3. And when I was younger, I thought that, well, Star Wars is about as old as it is right now. And yeah, that's from those, those little kid things where you think that old means a lot older than, it actually is. And I thought the prequel trilogy came out like 20 years ago, and I didn't know that it came out within the majority of it came out within my lifetime. Obviously, Phantom Menace would have came out before, since if you do the math, I'm about to turn 24. That'd be 2001 when I was born. So I was there for Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, but just really, really incredible franchises that I just always loved it. My first film in theaters was the Clone Wars movie, and that always just gives you an appreciation of it. And knowing that I'll eventually be able to see well, actually, the last 3 films I need to see, episodes 3, 4, and 6. I will be seeing 4 next year. I already got tickets to go with my family to the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, where they will be playing A New Hope with live music. Hopefully, it is the original cut of it, but I'm not really sure because I haven't looked too deeply in. Hopefully, it's not the McClunky one because I still watch the original DVD releases of episodes 4 and 6 to get the best versions possible. Although I'd probably be fine with the Blu-ray of episode 4 because I don't think really anything changes between the DVD and Blu-ray release. But I refuse to watch any of the episode 6 versions that have the Vader no. The only one version time I might see it is when I eventually do go to see Return of the Jedi in theaters. But yeah, honestly, I'll also probably be watching A New Hope again in theaters for the 50th anniversary because, well, I think I have to because it's nearly 50 years old. And it's just really crazy to think that. I also think that about 20 years ago, I thought it was around 50 years old. So yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. But I always had just so much Star Wars merchandise. I had so many just different toys as a kid. And then I get so many collectibles now, mainly Lego, but also I get some Black Series. I usually show those off in like when I get them from conventions and stuff. But honestly, yeah, I just love Star Wars. The characters are incredible. I love the 6 films from Lucas. I love Rogue One. I love the Clone Wars. I absolutely love Andor. I love basically all of Solo besides the one just really, really awful scene where Han Solo gets his last name. I could definitely don't love the sequel trilogy or the Acolyte, especially the Acolyte. That's definitely my least favorite Star Wars thing I've seen. But when I saw The Force Awakens, which is my first live action Star Wars film to see in theaters just under 10 years ago, I mean, it was still a great experience. That film is good on its own, but when you bring the rest of the sequel trilogy into it, it just becomes so much worse because of how all the payoff goes to those interesting setups. But yeah, I was just loved it when I went about 10 years ago. Again, it's a little less because the movie came out in December and it's the beginning of September. But I was hyped up for those months. I got I think like every single set from the Force Awakens wave, and you have seen those reviews of them last year. Still looking to sell those because again, what happened to the sequel trilogy after it's not the greatest thing, and it's mainly just been laziness for me not selling it yet. But just going into honestly, just as I said, just everything else, it was it was just really exciting to see the Force Awakens in theaters. Really loved it at the time because honestly, I was just willing to love anything Star Wars and not really just think on it. But when I just started thinking on it, especially after everything, it was just so much more disappointing. But the first time I saw it, it would have been I believe the 16th. I think the movie opened on the 15th, and I just remember going to want to see it because my family they wanted to not see it opening weekend, and well, this is before I had money or a job. I was in 8th grade, so I couldn't get my own movie tickets or just go out to there. So sadly, was gonna have to wait a week. But we were going to see a different movie. It was Krampus, but at the theater we were going to, it was like a 21 plus showing because they were going to be serving alcohol. So we went to see Force Awakens, which I was really excited for. And well, I saw it in like probably the absolute worst seat possible. It was one of the ones directly in front of the screen because the theater was practically sold out, and I was having to strain and put my head up to be able to go and see the screen and see everything because of how close you were to the screen. And if you ever sit in the seats that are like right in front of the screen, you know that that's not the best experience. And those are the seats you buy when everything else is sold out. But I mean, it was still just really incredible having everyone cheers. The Star Wars logo pops up for the first time on a screen in a decade, excluding the Clone Wars movie because, well, that was the Star Wars The Clone Wars logo. So, yeah, technically what I'm saying is still true. But just as I said, just really incredible. I loved the Clone Wars series, and I mean the Clone Wars, the CGI one. If I was talking about the other one, I would just call it Clone Wars because, two different things, but just watching it, I loved watching it. I remember when I was in Cub Scouts that when they had episodes dropping on Friday, we'd have like a monthly meeting of all the Cub Scouts, and I was always just so disappointing because I wanted to watch that new Clone Wars episode as soon as possible. And don't get me wrong, I loved Scouts, and I'm definitely glad I stayed in. And this is a side note, I did eventually manage to get Eagle Scout, so that was just a really great achievement for me. But going back to this, I was always just as a little kid, I was so disappointed having to wait to see a new Clone Wars episode. But I watched just all of them as soon as they aired. I think the only one I didn't watch as soon as it came out was season 6 because I really didn't know of it and didn't have Netflix at the time. But basically, the second I learned about it, I watched through the entire show and absolutely loved it. And yeah, honestly, I was just always just blown away. I remember just having so much fun with just all of Star Wars, being able to play games. I remember wanting to get to certain games. I remember getting Force Unleashed right around the time, probably like 2013, 2014, and getting the games, and then they really excited when I saw Starkiller base in The Force Awakens, thinking it was a reference to the character of Starkiller, not knowing at the time of that originally being the name for Luke Skywalker. But yeah, honestly, I mean, it was always just Star Wars has just always been part of my life. One of my earliest memories is after surgery I had as when I was younger. I just remember watching Empire Strikes Back after, and specifically the scene of Yoda lifting the X-wing. I just remember doing that in my front room, and it was honestly it was just one of my earliest memories, and honestly, I just loved that. It's so great. Not only is it an iconic scene, I just remember said that's one of my earliest memories is memory of remembering watching that, and yeah, I was just had great adventures with the action figures I had, and then mainly dressing up as Star Wars characters for Halloween. And yeah, as I said, I absolutely just love Star Wars. And it's going back to the beginning of it. That's the reason Disney can never kill it because I just have that deep ingrained love of it, and there are so many things that I love, and I'm not gonna let anything they do to characters be able to affect it. They could go and just completely ruin the character of Anakin Skywalker slash Darth Vader, who is my character in fiction, and it wouldn't affect my love for him because I'll just ignore that stuff happened. There's the entire thing, of headcanon and a bunch of other stuff, and some people will just go and attack other people who say, oh, I like continuity A or continuity B, and or the Legends continuity or slash EU or Disney canon, are like, oh no, that's not real canon. But I was always did get a little annoyed by that. Don't go and attack people for what continuity they love, no matter which one. Personally, I love the EU. I mentioned this last week. I own basically every book. I have the Han Solo trilogy coming in the mail right now from that 20% off sale from Half Price Books last weekend, and that put me to only needing to own 10 books in the EU because I already had book 2 of that. But and I'm just really excited. I can't wait to have all those books. And I actually read through all of them because there's just so many. But I am currently on Republic Commando Book 2. I'm going to finish that up, go through a few other prequel ones, And then I honestly want to go through the entire post Return of the Jedi EU stuff. It's just gonna be really, just really, really great to do that. I'm very excited for that. But again, I want to finish up Republic Commando. It's been solid so far, but book two is pretty long, and that's why I want to bring this, also bring the EU back, so just how great those stories are. So I actually please just go support that cause because I really haven't had too much support for it yet. I am trying to get it spread to other places to be able to give people more bigger content creators to share it, but I'm still working on that. So I just really, I said, really, really love Star Wars, and it's just honestly it's really great when I go to like a convention. I can meet some of these great actors I've met, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, as you would have seen from those videos with their autographs. Also, Lars Mikkelsen. I met at another convention which I never really shared about because it's just a picture I did with them. James Arnold Taylor, Ashley Eckstein, and Matt Lanter. Then also just honestly, just so many other just great actors that are in it. And also I met Taylor Gray at some event that I went to. This was like pretty early into Rebels and the time where I wasn't the largest Rebels fan. I definitely have be able to appreciate it more. Not as much as Clone Wars, but I've definitely softened up on it. And then Timothy Zahn, really nice guy when I met him earlier this year. And yeah, honestly, just as I said, I am just such a giant Star Wars fan. I just wanted to, just go through kind of my love of the franchise, a little bit of my history with it, and I just have a nice, like, relaxing video where I could just talk for a while, just about just the franchise that I love. This is just, not a super typical video for me. Usually it's about one thing and not really about myself, but my channel's 5 years old now. Hopefully I can get monetized soon so I can at least make some money to put back in the channel. But yeah, honestly, just a super, super great Star Wars fan, and well, I'm always going to support the franchise even when the stuff gets bad. And while it's my personal favorite fictional world, I will fully admit that the objectively best fictional world ever made was J.R.R. Tolkien's World of Middle Earth because just of how much he's done for that, how extremely complex that world is. But personally, Star Wars is my favorite one, even though I could objectively say the World of Middle Earth is far superior just because of how incredible it was. But again, I just love going through Star Wars. I have in my room a bookshelf that has just filled with Star Wars EU books, and I'm basically out of room on that, so I have no idea what I'm going to do when the Han Solo trilogy gets in, because I have all my Tolkien books, at least all the hardcover ones now, because I had to take out all the paperbacks I had, which were like Baron of Luthien, Children of Hurun, and everything else, just so I could only fit those EU books in there, and I just have so many. I'll probably just share a picture of it here of my current collection. And yeah, honestly, I just love Star Wars. As I said, I just have so many great things. I got the Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. I also made my own lightsaber. I still have the Darth Vader helmet from my Halloween costume, which was the one that had the voice changer. Although we did have the voice changer because when we were younger, we just didn't want to drag that around. And I mean, if you just look around my room, there's just so much Star Wars stuff spread throughout it. Yeah, there is other stuff. Got on my Lord of the Rings sets and the Daily Bugle, but mainly Star Wars stuff. And I've just been loving going, be able to have a new Star Wars experience more or less 5 days a week with work as I'm reading through all these different new EU novels. At least new to me because there's just so many I haven't read. But yeah, honestly, absolutely love it. I'm also planning to make sure to have a physical copy of every EU book because I want to own all of them physically, and basically I own nearly all of them. And I'll put up that picture of the ones I do own, but yeah, honestly, as I said, I just love Star Wars, and I just want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments, and let me know about your love of Star Wars. It's just really great to be here for 5 years and have had a lot of fun. So please let me know in the comments. Please support my petition to restore the EU, and I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.